Hello. I haven't made much crochet video ideas, and since I can't post an idea video, I think I will just do a challenge video for today. So I'm just going to be trying to use a lot of the scrap yarn I have. I bought no yarn for this, so hopefully everything works out. And I'm going to be using granny squares to create my projects. So I love granny squares, which is what, hold on a second, just give me like 5 seconds and I can actually get things figured out. I made this giant cardigan out of 69 different granny squares. So this is one of my favorite projects, and ever since this, I kind of fell in love with granny squares because this was my biggest project ever. So I just posted a video about this, so you guys can go check that out. It is a tutorial videos and patterns, so you guys can make this if you want. Anyways, that's not what this video is about. I'm making things out of granny squares, which, like I said, you can kind of tell I fell in love with granny squares a little bit back when crocheting. I first made this pillow. I wasn't totally in love with it because I was like, I don't really like the pillow. And then I kind of redecorated my room, and now it fits in a lot with my room. The only problem I have is I wish I actually dyed the inner pillow green or something, like one of these greens, or maybe like a lighter green, because it's white in the background and I don't really care for that. But even still, this is still one of my favorite things. I sleep with this pillow every single night. It's actually more comfy than my actual pillow, which is crazy for me because most yarn projects I find itchy. Anyways, and then shortly after that, I made this. This is actually one of my favorite cardigans to wear. It's actually really cozy, which I didn't expect because there's a lot of holes in it, and as long as there's no wind coming in, it's very warm. Anyways, on to the actual video where I actually do the crochet projects. We're doing granny squares for the challenge. That's what all you guys really need to know. So you guys are gonna have to join me on my extremely messy floor for the time being. Don't judge me, I do have on pajama pants. Don't judge me. So I have two different projects I actually have planned out. I want to make a top out of these colors. It's a really cute tie back top. I already have actual tie back tops that are not crocheted, I just got t-shirts and cut them into it. And those are some of my favorite shirts for the summertime, and with spring coming up, I feel like doing one that's knit will be just summer adjacent, which I think would be perfect for the spring because it will begin to start warming up a little relatively. I don't know, where I live it doesn't warm up till a little bit later. And then I want to do a bucket hat. I thought these colors were pretty cute for the spring. I got a light sky baby blue, whatever you want to call that. I got this light sage green. I think it looks really good, because I like sage green a lot. So I think it looks really good for spring. Since I like sage green, making it light would work better because it's more pastel. But I think it works well. And then I have this pink that my mom gave me after we did a Christmas craft. And this has just been sitting because, well, we just used it for a Christmas craft and there's not a bunch. And then I have these two grays. They're the same exact grays. They're just two different skeins. I bought these in the big packs I got from the thrift store a while back. And I feel like I can use these to make the bucket hat. If I run out of these colors, I'll cry. I don't know what else I'll do, honestly, because I don't have any other backup plans. As for this is going to be the border color of the top. All these colors I'm just going to kind of work somewhere into the granny square. I have quite a bit of colors, and I only need 7 granny squares for the top. And then this should be enough for all of the border. This is donated to me by my sister, just in case I run out of this yarn and I need more. I probably won't use much of hers, if any at all. And then this is donated to me by my sister. Again, I'm just going to use whatever I need and then give it back to her. I also have a third project in mind. It's a cross body bag made of 4 different granny squares. So it's the least amount of granny squares needed. I also wanted to do a vest, but I don't have enough of the same color to be able to do the vest. So the vest might actually be a project I end up doing when buying, but for the crossbody bag, I'm just gonna kind of like go through whatever I have in here. And I want to use like almost this like, I don't know, flowery looking one. So I think I can use bright colors for the bag. And then just use like a gray for the mane of the bag or something to dull down all the colors so that it's like enough that I can wear on a day-to-day basis, but not too much so that like it doesn't go with a lot of my outfits, because a lot of my outfits like are darker. I do have a few brighter color clothes, but on a day-to-day basis my outfits are darker. So as of right now, because I'm not quite sure what patterns 100% I want to use for this, I'm gonna start with the bucket hat. And the bucket hat isn't really like my favorite idea because I don't know, I don't think I look good in a bucket hat, but we'll see afterwards. I like a lot of hats on me, just not bucket hats. We'll see how I feel in a crochet one. I think I'll get started with just doing the squares, and then if I finish the granny squares for the bucket hat before actually attaching everything together, I think I'm just gonna continuously do a bunch of granny squares, attach everything at the end. If I do want to do some attaching beforehand, then I will. So I'm recording on my bed in a weird angle. Never recorded in this angle before. I'm just going to turn on some My Hero Academia, and then I'm going to crochet. My hands are a little shaky right now because I'm drinking an energy drink, so probably not the best time to do this, but I need the energy to keep me going, so. So I was almost able to crank one of these out in around 20 minutes. This is the first one. I'm not quite sure if I want to add a single crochet layer around it to make it look, I don't know, more filling when I go to stitch it together. So I might do that, especially because it looks like on the ones I'm referencing that they kind of tapered out at the bottom. That way they can connect together and make it more of a bucket hat shape. So I'll do that later, like when I finish and go to sew everything together if I feel the need to. But like I said, for now I'm just making the basic granny squares and then I'll figure everything else out later. I thought I would take around 3 hours to complete these, but I think I might be able to complete them faster. And I think I might end up making the top granny square smaller than the other ones if needed to make it a better pattern. And if I do, then I will probably, instead of tapering it out, I'll probably just have it sew in a little. So I have the 5 squares for my bucket hat done. I'm going to work on some of the squares for the shirt tonight, and then I'll probably go to bed. It is currently 9:30, so I'm gonna put these aside and then I will work on some of the ones for the shirt tonight. Okay, so it's now the next day. I have crocheted all of the pieces for the hat, so I have 5 granny squares for the hat, and now I just have to put that together, which is going to be fairly simple, I presume, unless the sizes of the squares are needing adjusted, which they may, because I used a 5mm hook and it ended up being like a little bigger than expected. So I might end up undoing the final row and doing like single crochets for the outside gray. I don't know, we'll see. And then I have 5 of the tops granny squares done. And they're just like random, out of the palette I had just done random colors. I had 8 different colors, and then I just did random colors. I just have 2 more squares that I'm going to line with the dark brown. For these ones, because the other one turned out a little too big and I knew that I would not want this for the shirt. I'm going to use, I ended up using a 4.5 millimeter hook. Same weight yarn. It's all 4 weight yarn. That's the most amount of yarn I have. So all of this scrap work stuff is 4 weight. Like I said, I'm just probably going to do this, and then I will go, once I finish these squares, I'm going to start putting together the hat. And like I said, I might end up having to adjust these squares because they ended up a little bigger. I don't want to unravel the whole thing and have to redo all of it. So like I said, I'll probably just make the rim smaller, like single crochets or half double crochets, if they end up being too big. So last night I ended up finishing about 4 of the squares for the shirt, and then this morning I woke up and I finished 3 more squares, and then after going out in town I started adding the border to almost all the squares. And adding the border is a lot faster for me because they're half double crochets. I use the same pattern that I use for the granny squares on my cardigans. My fall scrapwork themed one. I have a video up about those squares, or that cardigan, the pattern, and then I also have a pattern up for the squares on my blog. I have it only attached inside of the cardigan, but I kind of want to just like do a simple blog post about them separately. So maybe I'll do that so that you can kind of follow my granny square pattern, because I'm just kind of using my basic granny square pattern for these. Okay, so I finished all of the squares for the top that I'm making, the shirt. So I'm just gonna put them in this bag that I've been using to carry around the squares today, and I think I'm just gonna work on the hat now. For the hat, my sister let me borrow her bucket hat for measurement, which I put somewhere. She let me borrow her bucket hat that she got when we were at a fair one day. Oh, look at that. Isn't that so cute? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of BTS. She likes Jungkook. So this is what it kind of looks like. My head's kind of big, so it barely fits in this thing. So if it's a little bigger than this, I think it'll work just fine. Because like I said, my head's big and it barely fits in that. So I'm just going to kind of piece these together and see if it fits right, or if I need to take off one of the borders. So, I have the actual bucket hat part done. I'm just gonna do the thing around it. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna make the rim, like, bigger and kind of flare out. I'll just try it as I go, and then hopefully it works. Okay, so I just finished my bucket hat. It is currently 10:58, so I will probably sew the shirt together or slip stitch the shirt together, and then I'll probably show you guys tomorrow because, like I said, it's really late, and I might work on this squares for the bag, but I'm not quite sure. That might have to wait until tomorrow. So also, my hair is different randomly. I just cut my hair. I like to randomly cut my hair, so my hair is different. So yeah, this is what the hat looks like though. I actually really like it. I ended up doing single crochets here because I didn't like how big this was becoming, and I didn't want the brim to be too big. So it looks like though. It's a ruffly. It wasn't supposed to be this ruffly on purpose, but it was supposed to be a little ruffly. I kind of made it a little too ruffly because I've never made one of these before. The brim's already pretty big, so it kind of looks more like a sun hat. I think because it looks more like a sun hat though, it's cuter though. So last night, around 11:30, I finished sewing all of these squares together, and then it's around 2 o'clock now, and I finished doing the straps when I was out in town, and then majority of this morning I spent cleaning my room, so I didn't really do much. I'm gonna start working on the squares for the bag, and yeah, that's basically all I'm gonna be doing now, because I did the first two and I don't have any other projects, so I'm just working on the squares for the bag. I'll probably do it in a smaller hook size so that it's smaller squares. I'll try this on at the end of the video so you guys will be able to see it on me. This is what the top looks like. I really like the colors. I think they turned out pretty good, and it's a little more cool tone than I expected it to turn out, but I still think it's really cute, and it still looks very vintage. So okay, so I just finished one of the squares for the bags. I left a really long string because I'm going to end up sewing these together rather than stitching them together, because I want it to look more, I want it to look less bulgy, and I want it to look cleaner, so that this design can be the main focus. This design, it's like really cute. I'll link the pattern below, because I found this on Pinterest and it was a free pattern. It's super cute. But I think that this pattern is super cute, and it kind of looks like a flower, but the colors are just off enough, so like if I want to wear it in the off season, like you won't necessarily look at it as a flower. I don't know if I want to do another design of this for the back of the bag, or if I should just do 3 more normal squares, because I am running out of the blue I used for this, and I think that I can use this gray instead if I do run out, and I end up doing this pattern again for the back. But I think that would kind of just be cute to have this pattern for the front, and then the rest of the bag made of normal ones. So I'm gonna eat a little bit of chip and guacamole, and then I will just think about that. So I ended up doing 2 of these, so one for the front, one for the back, and then I did a few normal ones for the side. I went in the same exact pattern that I did, so yellow, brown, blue, yellow, brown, yellow, brown, blue, yellow, brown, and I ended up doing 4 rows of the granny stitch, and then I did half double crochets along the edge, which is actually the same thing I did for this one. I had to modify the pattern because I think it would have been just slightly too big for me if I were to do the full double crochets like they did along the border, or the pattern said to. So instead I just did half double crochets like I normally do around all my granny squares. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, almost every time I use granny squares, I put a border of half double crochets or at least single crochets, but I prefer to do half double crochets because I think that it just neatens this little edge that would be too thin when sewing it together. So I'm just gonna sew together the purse. Basically, it just goes like this, and then these ones get folded in half, and it's folded in half like this, and then it gets sewed on this way so that there's a bigger gap, but then it kind of goes in. And it's supposed to, this one is specifically kind of supposed to look like a fanny pack, but I'm making it a crossbody bag. So once I do that, I have to do the strap, but I will come back to do that. Okay, so I finished sewing it together. It's in a weird looking boat shape. Kind of looks like an origami boat to me, actually. It's kind of funny. It kind of sits across the chest like this, or obviously you can wear it as a fanny pack. I will not be wearing it as a fanny pack because I do not care for fanny packs. I'm gonna add a round of half double crochets to this top here, and then I'm gonna try and find a zipper I can put on it. If I can't find a zipper to put on it, I will like find a different way to have it closed, but I'm just gonna work on that, and then I will figure out a way to do the strap. Again, I'll look around for what I have and see how I can attach it. I always like to add something that's not fully crochet to my crochet designs. That way it looks a little more like professional and I don't know, like, I don't want to say like manufactured, but I do like it to look like it's a little better made, like not fully handmade. Anyways, I'm gonna work on that and stop talking. Okay, so don't mind me, I just woke up, that's why I look crazy. I finished the strap of the bag last night when I was in the bath. I just sewed it together this morning, and then I added a button. I think I'm gonna add Velcro to the outer edges for extra security. And then I also want to make it a keychain and like a few pouches because there's quite a few like holes in this. So I think it'd be kind of cute to have a pouch to go with it to hold like coins and stuff. And then like I saw this little earbud holder that you can attach to it on the one I originally saw. And I think that would be cute to have because I have an earbuds case, so it would actually be handy for me. So I'll do that, and then I also make jewelry, so I'm probably gonna make a keychain to go on it. So, cause like I said, I like to add things that aren't just crochet, which is why I added these little jump rings. And I think it makes the whole look come together more, but I'm just gonna do that quickly. Okay, so I just finished making the bag. I'm not gonna lie, the bag is something that I didn't think would turn out to be like super cute, but I ended up liking it a lot more than I expected I would. I ended up not being able to put a zipper closure on it because I didn't really have a zipper that I could use that wasn't to destroy something else. But this is what the bag looks like. I put a button enclosure on it, so you unbutton it, but I also made sure to put some Velcro. So it's still pretty secure and you can still put some stuff in there without it falling out. I would demonstrate, but I don't currently have anything to put in it right now. And then I made this. I made it so that one side's yellow and one side's blue. So I think that's cute. And it comes off. I think the only thing I probably could have done different about the earbuds pouch is I think I should have made the string like a little bit bigger just so it's easier to get on and off. Because when there's earbuds in here, it's kind of hard to slip on and off. So I might honestly redo that. I might just leave it though because I don't know that I'll use it too often. I might just honestly make a different one in more colors. I love the earbuds little holder. I think that that's a really cute idea, and like I said, I use my earbuds a lot. And anytime I go anywhere, I keep my earbuds with me because I don't like talking to people because I have social anxiety. So I do like this. And the idea of it is one side just has a string, the other side, oh my god. One side has a string, the other side has like this little hole right here, and you just slip the string through this hole, and then when you want to attach it to your purse, you just put it around whatever. So for this, I'm using the loop because it's easiest. I think any bag with a loop would be easiest, and then you just pull through there, and then it hooks like that. And then I made this little keychain. I thought that this was super cute. And this bead is this little blue bead is the only thing that's kind of off in color that's like actually bothering me, but I think it's still cute to go with the purse. I think it just adds a little extra detail, and I just have it so you can take it. It's on the floor now. I have it so you can take it off. There's like a little mushroom on there. This is my last of this mushroom bead, but I thought it would look perfect with this purse. And then there's this little star bead I also attached. And this came, I had bought something from like a completely Japanese company. It was some type of beauty product. And it came with a little bracelet that had this fish, but the bracelet had unraveled. And I thought this little fish was super cute. So I put it on this because I thought it kind of went with this vibe. This vibe's like very chilled, laid back. It reminds me of Sero from My Hero Academia. I love him as a character. And anybody who acts like he is not a good character because he's not really a main character has an invalid opinion. So quickly, before I end the video, I would like to showcase all of the items I made in this video. I kind of already showed the bag and the hat, but I would like to show them again just because I think everything I made in this video I was extremely happy with. The only thing I would say about this is I would like to make one that's a lot more neutral when I get colors to, and I would like to find a way to make this a lot less roughly. But anyways, let's get to the showcasing.